what's going to happen when we open Pearson out for staffing needs? Are we going to be short-staffed, or how are we going to pay for the teachers there?
It's a restructuring of staff. It will be when the 9th graders go up to the high school, there will be teachers that travel with those 9th grade students. And it's the same with when the junior highs become middle schools. There might be some teachers from Pearson that will choose to go to the middle schools, and some teachers that will choose to stay in the elementary. So that is not any additional cost, that's just shifting staff.
Thank you. Thanks a lot for answering all our questions and taking time to be here. We appreciate it.
My name is Jeannie Salinas. I've lived in Shakopee for over 16 years. I'm a former employee of the district. My one question, well, I have many questions, but I didn't come real prepared, and I left and I decided to come back because I'm just a little frustrated with everything. The one thing that bothers me quite a bit is the fact that I have seen people on this board out social gatherings, drinking beers, things like that together at local establishments. And I'm not sure that that is a very good code of ethic to have. I think there needs to be some separation. You guys seem to all be great friends, and I think I'm not quite sure that that is proper work relationship, I guess. I have a big concern about that. Do you feel that that's okay to do?
So I'm going to take a stab at that, maybe because I'm a bit unique. You didn't see me. The reason you didn't see me is I don't drink.
And I didn't say I saw everybody.
No, I know, but I'm just saying that I'm giving perspective as part of my answer. It's just not something I do. But I guess I would differ with you. I've spent 35 years in the work community, and I'm not sure how it's any different. You may have a different perspective, but I'm not sure how it's any different. When you socialize, it's all part of relationships. It's all part of friendships, let's be honest. It's part of life. So you emphasize the out drinking beer. I can't relate because it's just not something I do. But I would have no problem, and in fact, on a former board that I was on, we used to, on occasion, after a board meeting, go to, it was a bar, and drink, I'd say a Coke or something. But I fail to see the problem with that. So I'm not going to defend them because I don't think it needs defending, per se. I'm just not sure I understand the perspective because in any corporate setting, unless something inappropriate is happening, that's out of bounds to even have that conversation. You can't even have that conversation. So I'm just not sure what your concern is. I would respect the fact you have a concern, but as one who doesn't partake in it, I don't know what the problem is.
I guess maybe my concern is you all are a bit too close together, and I think, and I know I can speak for a lot of people, that there is a lot of yes sir answers. I just feel that the superintendent is calling all the shots and you guys aren't giving any of the correct answers. Nobody's saying no to him. I just think that something is not right with this whole.
And maybe perhaps we appear, I'll use your terminology, the yes men, if you will. You don't see the dialogue behind the scenes. Obviously, people are not coming to all the learning sessions and hearing the dialogue. You're not hearing the committee meetings. I would absolutely disagree that we are yes men. Now, are we a cohesive board? Do we have a lot of alignment, a lot of agreement? Sure, absolutely. I happen to be an attorney, I'm going to use hearsay. I'm going to use something that someone else said about us that we have used to help us in different planning activities. They've talked about how this is one of the best functioning boards. They work with boards all over the state that they've ever seen. And I don't say that to pat myself on the back. I say that in response to your comment that you see it as yes individuals. There's disagreements. There's things that we absolutely say no to. We say slow down on. Frankly, we're going to have to say slow down on things in light of the whole budget situation. So again, my perspective is very different from yours, but I would not agree that it's problematic.
My name is Dave Johnson, 1965 graduate of Shakopee High School. I'm also in the Athletic Hall of Fame. I'm the son of a Shakopee school teacher whose funeral was held in the gymnasium across the hallway in 1968. I'm the son-in-law of a former school board president. I taught mathematics for 39 years, 29 years in public schools in Minnesota. I have a deep sense of wanting quality education in the community, and I get that feeling from you people, but I hear a lot of, or no, let's say I don't hear a lot of answers to certain questions. Things are being glossed over. You may think you're being transparent, but I think there's a lot of people out here that don't feel you are. The next thing, if things don't get better, budget-wise, within the next year, would you all agree you should all resign and he should go? That's my question.
Okay, so I just want to respond quick to that and say that thanks for that statement. I will personally pledge to resign after my term is over, but that would not be necessarily a resignation. That would just simply be I would not seek re-election. And I'll tell you why I'm not going to resign right now, and that is that quitting is the easy way out. And the easy thing to do would be to not come tonight. The easy thing to do would be to stay at home, give up, to say I'd rather not have the flack, I'd rather not hear the feedback. But that decision would reflect very poorly on me, and more importantly for me, what does that say to my kids? And I have 3 kids in the district. As a matter of fact, I just want to call out that sitting at this table right here, and then this lady right across from me, there are 14 children currently in Shakopee schools, either in right now or on the way through, as we got 2 young ones with Dr. Thompson. 14. I just want to show you. Oh yeah, Tony's in there too. Yeah, you're in there too. You're the young one. So there's 14 total. So I'm not going to quit. I'm not going to resign because that's not the message that I want to send to Shakopee students. It's not the message I want to send to my kids. We got ourselves into this mess just simply by being here. It doesn't matter what I did or what I didn't do. I'm here. And it's partly my responsibility to own this thing. And you elected me, maybe, I don't know, hopefully somebody did here, to fix these kinds of things. So I was brought in here to make the district better. I have apparently failed at some of that job, so it's my responsibility to pick it up and see it to the finish line. That's exactly what I intend to do. I don't intend to quit. I don't intend to walk away. I intend to see this not only repaired, but resurrected and brought to a place that nobody would have believed it could have gotten to. And I really look forward to that day when we can sit up here and smile at each other and say, we got there. But I just want you to keep in mind that we're taxpayers as well. And somebody mentioned that. We're part of the community. We're your friends. Our 14 kids are all part of this, so we're equally as affected. And even though it may seem like we're trying to be very stoic or maybe I'm emotional, you know what? I am emotional. I'm a train wreck. Ask my wife. She's sitting over there. It's been a rough week. I don't expect any consideration for that. That's my issue. But I'm doing the best I can with what I have, and I'm going to keep plowing forward. And what's your name, sir? With the glasses? Nope. Back. Right there. Keep going. I do, Marlon. The teacher that spoke. You, sir. Behind me. Yes. What's your name, sir? Les. Les, I saw you here in this theater this past weekend. Right? The River Valley Theater Company's youth studio. They did a little play. 3 times we were here. Yes, we were, sir. Now, last Monday, Les and I were sitting on opposite ends of the table, having a colorful conversation for those that were there. But we joined forces on Saturday and Friday night for our kids, for Shakopee students. And we sat here and we watched this cheesy little play about pirates. These 3 cheesy little pirate kids who are flawed human beings. That's what the show was about. These 3 flawed human beings who went around in search of their father's treasure. And you know what? They each found a key, and at the end of the show, they realized they couldn't open the treasure box by themselves. They had to work together. It took all 3 keys to open that. You know, when they opened that little treasure box, and this is so cheesy, you know what they found? They didn't find cheese, that's nice. No, they didn't. They found a family photo. It was a family photo of the father who had passed away and those 3 flawed kids. And the message on the back of that family photo was that family is more important. Community is more important. That's where the real treasure is. So I don't want to get all emotional or cheesy like that, but I just want to kind of bring that up and remind you that I'm committed to this for those kids. And even though we may have had a disagreement last Monday, I thought it was awesome that we could sit in the same row and support those kids together. Thanks for that.
I don't want to drag this on any longer than I already explained, that's all. My name is Brenda Coney. I have 3 kids that will be coming to our district. I'm passionate. I work in Sweeney School, elementary school, which is their oldest, 50 years old elementary school. We don't have a lot of the things that a lot of the other elementary schools, but we work really, really hard to raise funds to fill in those gaps where we've been left behind. We even have neighbors complaining about the looks of our building. When our principal went out on maternity leave, we did not get a sub. There's a lot of things like that that happen there. But I'm not here as a disgruntled. I'm really, really glad that you guys took responsibility and that we're just going to move forward and try our hardest to fix the problems and not make these budget mistakes going forward. My question, I just want to clarify one thing. So have we ever, we keep talking about how we're losing students and that there are shortfalls, but historically and going forward, we've never had less students ever in any year reported or projected, correct? Like as a district statewide, they're always going up, 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 and they've been projected extremely tightly with those numbers, correct?
Looking at Dave, our veteran from the staff. Do you recall Dave or anyone else?
Right. So that's where my confusion is that like it was leaked to the media or somebody said to the media that due to lower numbers, that's why we're getting rid of some teachers to attrition, et cetera, et cetera. That was just my confusion. I wanted to clarify that because I don't know if everybody knows that. We've never gone down, down, down. We're only going
This is
up,
the first year.
and we're only projected to go up, up, up. But my observation in being in the elementary schools is that we've lost teachers progressively every year, and class sizes are getting bigger, and I know that's all our concern, but I've seen it to the detriment of my children and other children, and I want to implore you to not take it. Keep our standards as low as you possibly can, because it makes all the difference, and right now, we're concentrating on our high school and trying to fix that, which I do think our community made a giant mistake by making one massive school. We can't go back to that. I think you guys did a really good job trying to educate the community. It just took longer for the community to come along and see that we just cut half of our opportunities out of all of our children's future. Especially in this day and age when college applications, you have to have all these extracurriculars. And if we don't build an intramural program, if we don't build all these nets to catch our kids, it's not going to look good for our future. We are building, and you guys are doing a wonderful job trying to pursue the future. But my question lies more in, specifically, Brad Thompson, your letter to the teachers, I believe is what I read online, talking about how when we need to make cuts, we're trying to make, I know it's tough decisions, we have to do it, but it sticks in my craw when we're getting rid of teachers and our class sizes are rising. Can you specifically address, and maybe just release if we don't have time to address it tonight, what cuts have been made at the top level? Because I know we are top heavy, and I know there's reasons for that. We're building a lot below, and it takes, people, but our highest paid professionals are not taking any cuts. And I want to understand, what our thinking is. If we go right to our teachers, it's kind of a knee jerk. Can you specifically either release that information later or address that? Because we're all doing, I've seen raises coming through, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I understand.
I had put this slide up previously, and that addressed all of the administrative things we did and the adjustments that were being made, and then also the projected adjustments after that. Did you want me to go through that or just be able to make that available?
Yeah, make that available, but it's kind of non-specific too. I know there's other, a lot of people have issues with, we have, I don't really know a ton about this program, but they come in our schools and it's young scholars and equity specialists. They're paid more than our teachers, and as far as I understand, they don't have licensure. And as far as I understand, that's not a can you speak to some of that? And like, we just are very top heavy, and how are we gonna reduce it other than, like, some of this, like, it just seems like it kind of goes more to our students rather than less to the top. You can speak to that or release it later, that's just my comment.
You want me to speak to young scholars?
Sure, I know that that's been raised in a lot of the websites and stuff, and I don't fully know how that's funded, or if it's, I've been told it's just a different fund, but.
Sure. This Minnesota Department of Education, or the state funding that we tap into, is student achievement and integration, and those dollars are used to support the teachers. Young Scholars is a program that especially, and I'm not actually the expert on the program, although Nancy's here, but it doesn't make sense for me to explain it with Nancy in the room, so let her explain.
Well, Young Scholars is actually funded through a combination of the integration aid that he was going to talk about, which is not a part, it's a different funding resource in the general fund, and then there are also a portion of this paid through Title I dollars, because it's the kind of thing they encourage. Title I is sort of for intervention and at-risk students. And so the Young Scholars is a program that we started a couple of years ago in our elementary, and it's K through 3 kids, and it's a talent development program for kids that are typically not represented in advanced classes. So if you would take a look at, and I think I'd need Dave, our demographic in some of our advanced classes, kind of 4th grade and up, the typical demographic of that classroom is, I want to make sure it's right, so that's why I'm giving it to Dave.
I'll give you an example. Last year I did some study of like our high potential 4th grade, and this one actually worked out nicely because there were actually 100 kids across the district, and you could look at the free and reduced rates and see that while our district is 35%, within those 100 kids, it might be 12, 15%. Our demographics are about 60% white, 40% students of color. Of those 100 kids, we had 97% of them were white or Asian. And so what we're doing is looking for ways to serve groups that would typically be underserved through Young Scholars. And that's why that when Nancy talks about the funding through that integration funds, that's where it starts to make some sense then as well.
What we do is we go in and it's actually talent development. We look for, there's observational protocols we follow, and we look for kids that possibly come up on, from poverty point of view, any color or denomination, as well as students that are underrepresented in those advanced classes. And then we build their skill level. It's kind of a ramp up to readiness with the hope, and we're already seeing this happen, that they would naturally just qualify for those advanced classes that start in 4th grade in like math and English and continue through the secondary classes. And we're starting to see a change already based on some of the work they're doing. They're doing a great job. The equity team, I would probably turn back to Rod, because I don't have as much work with that. I work more, and my department works more with the Young Scholars program.
Large like Nancy just said, our equity team comes from that Achievement Integration Fund, which is that separate budget, that separate item that comes from the state. So that team is paid for out of those funds, and they were brought together for that same reason. What Shakopee calls it is a racially isolated district, which is why we get those funds. And so we need to use that money in order to work with our diverse population. That's where the money comes to. It has to be allocated. There's a separate budget for that. We actually just on the 15th of this month had to turn it into the state for them to approve. So.
Thank you for that clarification. I really appreciate it. But a lot of people have questions about those types of programs and stuff. And I do commend you guys for doing it. I really appreciate you letting us talk and stay here till 10 o'clock at night. So thank you, but please keep our classes small for our kids if needed. Thanks.
My name is Janie Hennis, and I started my journey with the school board about 3 years ago when the first referendum came in. And I have been born and raised here in Shakopee and did not believe in the 2 high schools. I gave a really good towards the school board. I know they wondered who the heck was this woman and where did she come from and where her kids are. My kids had already graduated. I knew my vision was to keep our community together and give our kids the best education we could give them under one roof. And what you guys did was you involved the community, you listened to us, you gave our chance, we failed. I know a lot of you said you lost a lot of sleep over, and why did that happen? I think it's because you didn't engage the community, and now you have. You have engaged us, and if the community says they don't know something, it's because they're not engaged. Honestly, the communication is out there. You just have to be open and kind of look for it a little bit. I mean, it's on Facebook. If you're not on Facebook, there's emails. You can go to a board meeting. You guys know I go to board meetings. You know, I stay in tune, and that's what you gotta do. So, you know, after we regrouped, passed a referendum, I'm one of those that if I'm gonna sit and complain and not be satisfied, I engage. So I engaged in many committees, and I'm still engaged in the outside committee, and we are moving forward. And we went to an upgraded meeting, and I asked the question, are we in budget? And we were told we are in budget with the referendum monies that we voted for. So, yay. And I am a little disheartened to hear about this 4.5 million, but I can wrap my head around it. And I do feel that you guys have opened yourselves up here tonight, and you have been transparent. I know there's been some things in the past that I don't agree with, but, you know, you can't agree with everything in life, you know? So we have to move forward, and I trust that all eyes are on you guys now, even more, and I trust that this will be resolved, and we'll move forward with better checks and balances. So I applaud my dream of the one high school is being carried forth. I was on that committee. I voted for 3,200 students. There was a lot that went into that, so anybody that wants to argue it, call me. I'll tell you why it was decided. I spent many a night in a summer week, or in a summer 2 years ago, trying to vet this out. And I think one of Rod's best decisions was to bring Nancy Toole on board. She is awesome. And the new curriculum that is being brought forward to our high school, 9 through 12, is really going to put our kids forward, and it is worth it. So I applaud you guys. I'm sorry this is all happening, but we'll get through this.
Apologize for dragging out even a little bit longer. I do have one additional question, and I think it's more for your consultant. Through all of this, we've heard a lot of the impacts that's going on. No one's really spoken to how the mistake was made in the first place. Like, did someone accidentally delete the number for the items that were left blank? Did somebody manually enter the number wrong? Was there a software glitch that the number, I mean, aren't the old number and the new number kind of next to each other, so you would be able to just assume you'd catch that? Like, what happened? Not naming names or blaming anybody, but just how did the numbers get wrong or get blanked out?
So, the document I showed at the start of the meeting that you couldn't see, it's just examples like that where you have 2 years ago we spent $1 million, last year we spent $1.2 million, and in the adopted budget we have $800,000.
Is that just an error in calculation, or someone, like, how did it get to the wrong number?
I mean, I didn't build that budget, so I don't know exactly what went wrong. So part of the thought might be that potentially they're building the budget based on the prior year budget that was wrong. So that rather than building on where we projected to end up. So it's tough to say. I mean, there was omissions, line items where there was no budget at all. So I guess point blank, that line item must not have been reviewed in the final budget process. So
Thank you guys all for staying here. Everybody, very, very late.
slowly this time. Final question from me, I guess. So the district has a lot of capital assets in essence. There's a nice plot of land south of town, right on town line. There was a referendum that was, voted after that referendum had passed, and now we have this budget area in front of us. There's a lot of assets. There's land that's not being utilized. There's been some recent developments on that land. Is there plans for that to potentially sell off that land as a capital asset with all of the appreciation that's gone on? That would take care of all this stuff for a couple of years, no problem. But then also too, after the referendum was passed, there was a personal residence that was purchased for $875,000 in just August of 2015. That is a definite cash impact to the school district. It's owned by the school district. It's currently on the property tax rolls. So the school is paying the tax. In essence, the school is paying the referendum on that property. It's listed as a residential homestead. What was the original purpose for that purchase, and how is it being utilized today? And then what's the impact going to be, or how is it going to be used going forward?
Well, let me first address your first question. We, without disclosing too much, we have a pending sale on some of our property that will help be able to be used to offset. So, and obviously you don't want to lay that out there right now because you can understand it's still in negotiations. But that was one of the commitments made years ago, that if this parcel or this area were to be desired, we could do something to get some revenue off of it. Now the other piece, I'm looking at my assistant soup, John Bizek, who works with the Bach that Reggie talked about earlier. Do you want to address that site?
Hello, John Bizek, Assistant Superintendent. Obviously, you know the south side on 78 and 79, that piece of property there. There was a piece of property that was adjacent to that. Since we owned the parcel that we at one time thought might be the second high school, now is going to be developed into an athletic complex. There's a house next to that we thought, okay, this is right next to our property. It was for a reasonable price. So we have purchased, I believe it was over a year ago, we purchased that piece of property. I believe that's what you're talking about. And we're currently renting out the house. So we do own that piece of property. We are, collecting some rent on that. So we're still holding it because we don't believe we're done growing. We could possibly need another school in the future, and hopefully not for a while. But again, we just thought with the price of property going up, it was at a good price, and we thought we were in position that we had dollars left over from a previous referendum, and we decided that the board has been pretty good about purchasing property in advance for future growth. That's where that sits.
And I add to that, John, two things. Hopefully we'll add a little bit more to that. I actually heard you and understood you that time. The parcel that John's talking about, there's two reasons why we acquire it. The first one is there are requirements when you have a building in terms of acreage and green space. And it varies depending on whether it's an elementary school or a secondary school. So the fact that we're going to be next to the athletic complex and it's contiguous to that, we can get by with I don't want to say it's 20 acres, yeah. We can get by with that parcel being too small for a school building alone because it's contiguous to all this green space. So it was very advantageous to do it. So that's one thing I would say. Second thing I would say, and I can say this from historical experience being on the board, John knows this because John was on the board, Sarah certainly, historically. Boards in Shakopee, because of our growth, what's the old saying, your dad probably told you, it's land, they don't make any more of it kind of thing. We've always been looking for opportunities to secure land, knowing that we're a growing district, knowing that we're going to need school space. So that was yet another reason we did it. And then the third thing I would say is, as I think I alluded to, or somebody alluded to, maybe Sean, when you pass referenda, you can only use the dollars for what's allowed in the referendum. So if those dollars actually harken back, and I can't tell you which one it was, or it was for purchase of land. So we actually had some restrictions on how we could use those dollars. We had it, I think it's in the building fund where it's kept. So that was yet another reason why we had that capital to use. So it was a good opportunity to capitalize on something contiguous. You don't get any more land, it could be a good school opportunity, and it was a good use of it. So those are all the reasons I had.
Seeing no one else at the microphones, I'm going to ask those in the House, have we successfully answered all of the questions asked tonight? Yes. Okay. I think we did. Okay, so let's move to item 3. Believe it or not, we actually have more on the agenda. Let me stay. Item 3 is just simply other. So at that point, I would just quickly run down the line with our board and see, starting with Matt, if you have anything in particular. No, thank you. Okay.
I would like to say something. Thanks for staying around. I hope that what you heard tonight kind of eases your stress and your questions and your interest in the school district. Even if it's just a little, we hope it helped. When I ran for the seat, I ran on the basis of trust. And I feel some of you don't feel the trust in us, and that's on me. We feel it. But please trust me on this, that nobody up here has done this intentional. We are not in a situation because we wanted to put ourselves in the hole, or not in the hole, but go through the stress and put, all this extra effort into us. But I think, and hopefully you can believe me when I tell you that this is not an easy position for any of us to be in right now. And it's not taken lightly. Tonight we've showed you a lot of what we've done, what we're going to do in the future, but we're not complacent on what we've decided on. We're constantly going to be looking for some way to save you guys money in the future and make our district and our fund balance grow. It's not going to be a fast process, but we are going to do it as well as we can. I know you guys in the community will have more questions for us, and we need to answer those questions in a more timely manner. We also need to be more, our communications need to be better. That's a gimme, and that's what we keep hearing, and we apologize for that. To all the teachers out there, I know we're putting a lot of stress on you guys, and we've asked you a lot to change in the last 4 to 5 years on the curriculum aspect and everything. But we know we don't show you enough appreciation. So for that, I want to say thank you to all the teachers out there that have invested in our children, and please keep up the hard work.
I have about a 5-minute speech prepared, but I'm not going to do it, so you guys can go home. But I want you to know that from outside our lens, I finally get why there's anger and distrust, and we will do everything in our power to fix it moving forward. Thank you for being here. This was all right, but we appreciate still being here.
I also prepared something, but I'm not going to do it here. But I do want to say thank you for being here. Thank you for asking the questions. Many of the questions you asked, we asked as well. Some of the anger you had, we had as well. And we realize that this mistake is on us, and it is our job to take responsibility, move forward, and to grow from this. I hope that through this we learn a lot of lessons, and I hope that through this we come out better on the other side. That is my goal. As a mother in the district, I want my kids to have the very best, and I want your kids to have the very best. And I want you to know that my door is always open. If ever you want to have a conversation or have questions, I am here to listen, and I'm here to give you the knowledge that I have from being on the school board. So thank you again for being here.
Thank you for being here tonight. It has been a long night for you all. It's certainly been a little bit of a long night up here. But I want to say thank you to all the people who are either watching at home or had to leave. They picked us up at the end. We had a full house. And that shows a passion. And I love that. We may not agree on everything, and certainly we had some things to answer for. But the fact people were here shows they care. And if I have anything, it's a passion for education. It's what I like to do and what I'm involved with, not just in some other ways. And I appreciate the fact that you guys have a passion for education too. Thank you very much for being here. We will do our level best to earn back any trust we've lost and to make up the ground that we've lost. Thank you again.
just want to echo what Reggie said. Thank you to everybody for giving us an opportunity tonight. These are not easy times, and we started out front with thanking you for being here, and I want to end with thanking you for being here. It's something we needed to hear. It's the feedback we maybe don't like to hear, but it's going to make us better and stronger. And I really, really sincerely. I appreciate your willingness to listen. Thank you.
I'm just going to ditto everybody, and then we'll move on. So item 4, upcoming meetings and important dates. April 10th, we have a school board business meeting at 6 p.m. April 17th, school board retreat. And April 24th, we have another learning session at 6 p.m. as well. Hearing nothing else, I'd like to move to item 5, which is to accept the motion to adjourn. All those in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. We are adjourned.